this is a serious problem for a lot of guys, that they will ejaculate just way too fast because they're so excited. They finally get the girl that they're so into. So what are some tips to help people with that?
There's a couple of key things guys can do. One is a lot of guys will condition their body to orgasm quickly. And they do this through the way they masturbate. A lot of dudes who have a premature ejaculation problem, if I tell them, hey, you should pay attention to the way that you are masturbating, where if you jerk off to porn, and I will say, I'll add to this as well, I encourage guys to not watch pornography. As a guy who actually used to be in the industry, I'm here telling you should stop watching that entirely. There's no benefit to your life in engaging in that habit consistently. I'll just say that outright. But for guys who have a premature ejaculation problem, very often they will train their body to come quickly because they'll open up their laptop, get on a website, and they'll jerk off as fast as they can and come as fast as they can. And then they're surprised that when they have a beautiful woman in front of them, that they're coming quickly. Well, you spent however many years training your body to finish quickly when you see a beautiful woman. And you're surprised that that's what you do when you actually get there in the real world. So first of all, they should be adjusting their masturbation habits.
So is there a way that you can train then and use masturbation to extend like the time?
Correct. So they can if that is their unique problem, if that is actually the cause of their problem, there's a few reasons why a guy could purely ejaculate. If that is their cause, then they can start a process I call reconditioning, which is through deliberate masturbation. I wouldn't necessarily recommend doing it with pornography. Just do it if you do it with your own mind, you actually end up having a lot more control over your own mind and your own thoughts and your own arousal. So it's actually it has a double benefit. But they can learn to recognize what's called the point of no return. So it's that point where they're masturbating and they're getting more and more aroused, and the point of no return is basically any more physical stimulation to your dick, game over. You're coming. End of story. There's no coming back, right? So what they should start doing to recondition themselves is learning to recognize where that point is and bring themselves down again, calm, relaxed, regain composure, regain control, and then try it again. And regain control, and then try it again.
So it's basically the same thing that you were doing to extend the arousal.
Bingo. It's the same process.
Just do it
but we're doing it. The guy's doing it to himself to learn how to control himself. Whereas when we do it with a woman, we're doing it to control her orgasm and create a far more intense experience for her. So that's one thing that I can do, that reconditioning aspect. There's another really important aspect when it comes to premature ejaculation, which is they've found this phenomenon where when guys take SSRI drugs, so selective serotonin reuptake inhibitors, I believe these are mostly used as depression medication and things like this. Basically, they reduce the amount of serotonin in your brain. They have found that men who have premature ejaculation, when they get on these drugs, they no longer have premature ejaculation. But it also decreases their sex drive at the same time. So there's a balance here with serotonin levels where there's like, if you have way too much, you are way too easily excited and you will most likely prematurely ejaculate. And then there's the opposite problem where you don't have enough and your sex drive is killed and you can't orgasm at all. What we want to do is bring those serotonin levels back down to a healthy level. And we can do that through lifestyle, through diet, through supplementation, through exercise, basically through living a healthy lifestyle more often than not, not through these prescription drugs. I would not recommend anybody take these kind of prescription drugs. But if that is another factor that can contribute to premature ejaculation. So if a guy has that problem, I would suggest he looks at, okay, well, what is my lifestyle like? What's my diet like? What's my supplementation like? And what can I can take and adjust to try and moderate my serotonin levels a bit more and get them in like a healthy range, and they'll probably find they'll regain a lot more control and composure. And oddly enough, there's a heavy mental component as well, like not just in terms of the brain chemistry, but in terms of their thought patterns that is linked to premature ejaculation. And you very often find that premature ejaculation and performance anxiety, like erectile dysfunction caused by performance anxiety, they go very much hand in hand. So the guy has all these negative thoughts. He's got all these anxious thoughts. He's nervous. She's really beautiful. He's worried about not getting it up. Surprise, surprise, he doesn't get it up. But then when he eventually does get it up, he's done in like 30 seconds. because he's so overexcited and so anxious and all these things together.
So how do you get over that? Like, is there anything that you can do mentally to prepare yourself, or like almost like not give her so much like importance, or make her so beautiful in your own head?
Yeah, not putting on a pedestal is a good start.
Yeah.
And I think it's important for young men to understand that as much as you find a beautiful woman intimidating, and as much as beautiful as she is, and I'm sure she's a lovely person, she has insecurities in herself. The most beautiful women on this planet are quite insecure about something.
I
on
would
their body.
argue that usually the most beautiful women are actually more insecure than the average woman.
I would
'Cause
agree
I
with you
work
there.
with models and actresses, and I'm around beautiful women all the time. And you'll be surprised. Like, they are gorgeous, and they're fixated in this one thing that they think that is not that attractive.
Yep. Why do you think so many naturally beautiful women and still end up getting some kind of surgery or some kind of Botox or plastic? Like, they get some work done, even if they're still naturally beautiful. We look at lots of Hollywood celebrities are perfect examples of this. Playboy models are perfect examples of this. Like, there's lots of this stuff going on. So for the average guy, recognize that, yeah, you have insecurities, but so does she. I think mentally that might help to not to say you have to, like, put women down or anything, but mentally it might help you to understand that she's not on this pedestal that you think she is. She's a human being, just like you are. She has her own, desires, but she also has her own insecurities and things like that. So you shouldn't feel so super nervous about not living up to a certain expectation. And largely, you're putting those expectations on yourself as well, which you should also recognize. Like, you're setting yourself up for failure by demanding such a really strong performance of yourself, like the first time. And ironically, if you take away that pressure, if you kind of, in a way, give yourself permission to fail, this is actually one of the mental frameworks I teach guys who have performance anxiety. I said, if you give yourself permission to fail, you will probably find you won't fail. If you go into that interaction with, like, you know what, she's gorgeous, I'm probably going to finish in like 30 seconds, and I don't care. If you genuinely believe that, and you genuinely accept that, and you go into that sexual interaction like that, you'll probably last as long as you want. Because you've given yourself permission to fail, and you don't care anymore. And your body is going to cooperate with you then.
Yeah.
It's the reverse. It's when you put so much pressure on yourself that the anxiety will kick in and the failure is going to kick in. So it's this very paradoxical way of thinking, and the mental state of mind a guy has to get into is quite, to fix these specific problems, it's very paradoxical.
Yeah. I think if you're able to do a combination of all of those things together, and again, go back to, even though movies are like a shitty like analogy to go through this, because like, how everything is kind of fake. At the same time, if you're able to create, for me, it's like I'm trying to create a scene in real life. And when you're getting close to, like, you feel that you're about to like come, then it's like, okay, reset, new scene. Right. And then what I do is like, come over here, do this, then I get in control. So she doesn't know that what you're doing is like directing her.
Yeah.
Even though in that moment you might just need a break because you're getting to that point of no return. Yep. But you just need to be a good actor and understand that, okay, I'm in control of this. And as long as you remind yourself of that, then you can proceed.